So now we are going to discuss about sewage pumping and types of pumps used for sewage pumping. So these are the necessity of the pumping. The pumps are required for the following purposes. So the sewage under the following circumstances the pumping is required. That is the sewage must be lifted by means of pumps. First one, the sewage from the low lying pockets. That is if it is very lower in level, then it should be pumped off to the next level. Then when the area is very flat, that is the it has same RL, then the laying of sewer at the designed gradient may be deeper excavation. It require deeper excavation. To avoid that, in that circumstances, it is very economical to provide the pumps. So it can be lifted to a new next level. Then when the outfall sewer is lower than the level of treatment plant, the sewage will have to pumped up. Then finally, if it need to cross a ridge or any obstruction, at that time we can pump the sewage instead of driving the ridge for the reasonable depth, because it is more economical to provide the pump uh, than the driving of the ridges. So for these purposes we require the sewage pumping. So this diagram explains that how the ordinary laying of sewer line, if the area is very flat, and how the sewage is lifted by means of pumping. So it doesn't require much excavation of the earthwork. It reduces the deeper excavation. So these are the requirements of a good sewage pumping. So the pump should be capable to pump the sewage, because the sewage containing solids. So it's both floating and suspended solids. So it should not easily clogged. The pump should not easily clogged. That is the most important characteristics of a sewage pump. And another one is sewage cannot be stored for more time. For a short period of time only it can be stored. Also the flow is very highly variable, so it should be resist for the fluctuation of flow. Also the pump should be cheaper in cost, both the initial and maintenance cost. Also it should not be damaged by means of the solids present in the sewage. So these are the types of pumps commonly used for the sewage pumping. First one is centrifugal pumps, and second one is reciprocating pump, and the third one is pneumatic ejectors or air pressure pumps. First one is majorly used pumps are centrifugal pumps. Centrifugal pumps are the most widely used for the lifting sewage, because these pumps are not costlier one, and also it is not easily getting clogged. Okay, so the types of centrifugal pumps used for this purpose are horizontal axis flow and disintegrating pumps. First one is non-clog pumps. So it is majorly divided into non-clog pumps, and second one is disintegrating pumps. Based on the function, it is divided into two. The horizontal axis flow of centrifugal pumps are generally used. So this helps in preventing the clogging of pumps, because the clearance between the veins kept large enough so as to flow the solid matters entering into the pipe to pass out with the liquid sewage. So this type of pumps are called non-clog pumps. But in another type of centrifugal pumps, the solid matters present in sewage are broken up, that is disintegrated, as they pass through the pump impeller. Such pumps are called disintegrating pumps. First one is horizontal axis flow centrifugal pumps, also called non-clog pumps. Second one is disintegrating pumps. In this disintegrating pumps, the solid matter gets broken. So both the above types of centrifugal pumps works at low efficiency, but their use avoid the necessity of installing pre-screen for grid removal before pumping, because both allows the solid matters present in the sewage. Also, the centrifugal pumps may be installed either in submerged, that is submerged cases, that is in wet well, or the pumps may be installed in the dry well. If you see this diagram, then you can easily understand. This is the wet well and this is the dry well. Wet well means the where the in the room where the sewage is collected, and dry well is nothing but there is no water, that is it should be free from water, and the pump and power, everything motor room is maintained is called dry well. But the submerged, that is centrifugal pump, can be kept either installed either submerged, that is wet well, or pump may be installed in dry well. The pump is installed in such a way for its suction remains below the lowest water level in the adjust well. So this will eliminate the need for priming of the pump. Next one is reciprocating pump. Normally the reciprocating pumps are not used these days because of their high initial cost. Also difficult in maintenance because greater wear and tear of their valves inside the reciprocating pumps. So sometimes they may be used for pumping in difficult sludges where large quantity is required to be pumped against low heights. So the reciprocating pumps used for pumping sewage are generally divided into two types. First one is ram type and second one is propeller type. In the ram type of reciprocating pump, a piston moves inside a closed cylinder. On the intake of stroke, the liquid enters the cylinder through the intake suction valve, the delivery valve remaining closed during the intake stroke. On the discharge stroke, the suction valve closes and the liquid is forced into the delivery pipe through the delivery valve, which opens during the discharge stroke. This is the diaphragm pump. The figure shows the diaphragm pump is an example for the ram type. So another one is propeller type. In the propeller type of reciprocating pumping, a multiple blade screw motor or propeller moves vertically inside a pump casing, causing the sewage to lift up. The action is somewhat similar to the ship propeller, as it draws water through the inlet gate vanes and discharges through the outlet gate vanes. Like this, the same action happened here also. This is called axial flow pump. Axial flow pump, that is an example for the propeller type pumps. The third type is air pressure pumps or pneumatic ejectors. The pneumatic ejectors are also called air pressure pumps, and it's a complete lift unit in themselves are used for pumping smaller quantities of wastewater, such as for raising the wastewater from basement of the building or discharging it into the street sewer. Such as a complete unit can be purchased as ready-made, fabricated for direct installation. So normally it consists of an airtight tank into which the wastewater flows by gravity, and out of which the wastewater is forced automatically whenever sufficient wastewater has accumulated to rise a float, and thus opening of the compressed inlet valve. So here the figure shows the air ejector called Schwann's ejector. It consists of a cast iron chamber with a spindle having an upper and lower cup. Also it has two check valves, V1 and V2 are provided at the entrance and exit point. The ejector chamber resets on the seats, that is rest on a seat. A lever arrangement with a counterweight is provided so as to open the compressed air inlet valve. The compressed air is supplied through this valve at a pressure of about 1.5 kilogram per centimeter square. Here the wastewater enters the chamber through the inlet, that is valve V1, slowly rises in the chamber. At this stage, the exit valve this is the inlet for sewage. When it is entered through the valve V1, it slowly rises. Okay, so then at this stage the exit valve and compressed, that is V2 and V3, remain closed. As the wastewater level in the chamber rises, the air from the chamber escapes through the exhaust. Okay, but when the wastewater level in the chamber reaches the bottom of the upper cup, this is the upper cup, this is the lower cup, and this is the upper cup. So when water level reaches the lower level of the upper cup, that is bottom of the upper cup, the air inside gets entrapped. Then the further rise of wastewater in the chamber makes this entrapped air to exert through the vertical pressure on the spindle. This causes the spindle to lift up. So it lifted up, and through the lever arrangement, it results in clogging of the exhaust. So exhaust get closed. Then opening of the compressed air valve. Then the air under pressure entering the chamber from the valve 3 forces the wastewater from inside the chamber to rise up in the outlet pipe by opening the valve V2. So the air inside the valve, that is it opens the V2. So at this stage, the valves V2 and V3 remains open, but V1 gets closed. The wastewater is thus lifted up and discharged from the outlet till the level of water falls below the bottom of the upper cup. Because if it comes below the upper level of, that is bottom of the upper cup, the entrapped air from the upper cup escapes. So the lever arrangements opens the exhaust and closes the compressed air inlet valve. So the exit valve V2 also closes. The entrance valve V1 opens to again admit the wastewater. Okay, so this process going on repeating to lift the wastewater from one level to another level. So the main advantages of the air ejectors are, this is completely automatic and useful in many conditions where the chances of small capacity centrifugal pumps get clogged. So such ejectors are not likely to be clogged. So compared to the construction of a pumping station, these pneumatic ejectors are racket to be lifted to be economical. So the only disadvantages of the air ejectors are it have very low efficiency. So it is of about 15%. Only it gives 15% of the efficiency. That is the only demerit of the pneumatic ejector.